My name is Claire Henderson. I'm 26 years old, and this is the story of how my boyfriend proposed to me on Christmas night, and how the gift box he handed me exposed his double life. If you enjoy real-life stories like mine, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next. I grew up in a suburb where Christmas lights went up after Thanksgiving and stayed until the snow finally gave up. My mom loved the holidays. My dad pretended he didn't, but every year I caught him humming carols while untangling the same string of lights. For me, Christmas meant warmth and the feeling that no matter how messy the year had been, we'd end it together. So when my boyfriend, Ethan Cole, told me he wanted this Christmas to be unforgettable, I thought he meant something good. We've been together for 3 years. Ethan was charming in an easy, practiced way, dark hair, smile, the kind of guy who remembered your coffee order and your favorite song. He worked in tech sales, which meant odd hours. I've told myself that's just how it was. Busy people, busy lives. My friends joked he seemed too polished, like a guy in a commercial. I laughed it off. I knew his favorite cereal, his middle name, the way he tapped his thumb when he was hiding stress. I thought that meant I knew him. In early December, he started acting strange. Not bad strange, just heightened, extra attentive. Random flowers, surprise dinners, more "I love you" texts than usual. He was on his phone even more, always tilting the screen away. When I teased him about being secretive, he grinned and said, "You'll see. Some secrets are worth it." Here's where things got complicated. Christmas Eve, he suggested we spend the holiday at my parents' house instead of with his family like we'd done the year before. "I want to do it where you feel most at home," he said. "Where it really means something." My mom practically vibrated with suspicion turned excitement. My dad started polishing the good glasses. At one point, I caught my mom mouthing, "He's going to propose," in the hallway. I tried to stay calm, but that word lodged itself in my brain. Propose. I pictured it so many times I almost felt guilty, like I was opening a present early. Christmas Day was cold and bright, snow piling softly against the windows. My parents went all in, ham in the oven, cinnamon rolls on the counter, my dad playing the same album he'd played since I was a kid. Ethan showed up just before lunch in a navy coat and a knitted scarf I'd never seen before, carrying a wrapped gift box in matte red paper. For a moment, I honestly thought, this is it. Right here, right now. But he just kissed my cheek, handed my mom a poinsettia, and joined my dad in complaining about the Broncos season. The day went by in a blur of food and small talk. I caught Ethan watching me more than once, his expression unreadable, some mix of nerves and decision. After dinner, my mom dimmed the lights and insisted we take just a few more pictures, which turned into 20. Finally, as the living room glowed with only the tree and the fireplace, Ethan cleared his throat. "Can we do presents now?" he asked, but he was looking only at me. My heart pounded. Everyone settled on the couches. He reached down and picked up the matte red box I'd noticed earlier. It was big enough to matter, small enough to be personal. He walked over and knelt in front of me, but not quite on one knee. My brain scrambled to fill in the rest. "Claire," he said, voice low, "this has been the best 3 years of my life. You've been my constant, my home, my—" He trailed off, swallowing hard. Ethan smiled and held out the box. "Open it." My fingers fumbled with the ribbon. For a second the room faded. It was just the sound of paper tearing and my own heartbeat in my ears. I lifted the lid. Inside was a small velvet ring box. And beneath it, a folded stack of papers tied with a thin gold string. Nerves flickered into confusion. "What's this?" "Go ahead," he said. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. I set the ring box aside, hands suddenly shaking for a reason I couldn't name yet, and untied the gold string. The top page slid free, crisp and heavy. It wasn't a love letter. It wasn't a certificate or a plane ticket or anything romantic. It was a printed copy of an email thread between Ethan and a woman I had never heard of in my life. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The words on the page blurred, my brain scrambling to make sense of something that didn't belong inside a Christmas gift. My fingers tightened around the paper as I blinked again, forcing the text into focus. Subject: last night from Ethan Cole to Vanessa Hart. My stomach dropped so violently I felt the room tilt. I could feel my parents watching me, my mom leaning forward slightly, sensing something wasn't right. Ethan didn't move. He wasn't smiling anymore. He was waiting. "Ethan," I whispered, "what is this?" "Keep reading," he said, voice steady in a way that made everything worse. My eyes slid down the thread: dates, timestamps, details, conversations I should never have seen, plans I had never been told about, a hotel reservation 2 weeks ago, a dinner half an hour from his office, a message from Vanessa. Last night felt like a beginning, not a mistake. The room felt too warm, like the fireplace heat was smothering me. I turned to the next page. More emails, more messages. Some brief, some intimate enough to make my skin crawl. I flipped again, another stack, printed in order, like a timeline of betrayal. My dad shifted in his seat. "Claire?" he asked softly. "What's going on?" I couldn't answer. I could barely breathe. I looked at Ethan. He held my gaze without flinching. "You deserve the truth," he said quietly. "Even if it hurts." I stared at him, stunned. "On Christmas? You gave me this on Christmas?" He didn't apologize. He didn't look ashamed. He looked resolved. "I didn't want to lie anymore," he said. "I didn't want to propose with secrets between us." I glanced at the velvet ring box still sitting inside the gift box, untouched. The sight of it twisted something in my chest so sharply I almost gasped. "You were going to propose," I whispered, "while you were with someone else." "I ended it with her," he said instantly. "Before tonight. That's why I printed everything. So you wouldn't hear it from someone else later." My mom put a hand on her chest. "Oh my God," she murmured. "Ethan, what are you even saying?" Ethan inhaled slowly, like what he was about to say required strength. "I wanted a clean start, Claire. A clean start." Those words were so absurd, so horrifyingly backward, I actually let out an involuntary laugh. A thin, shocked, humorless breath of disbelief. "So you cheated," I said, "and your grand plan was to propose while handing me proof you cheated." "I wasn't cheating at the time of the proposal," he insisted. "I ended things. I chose you. 3 years. 3 years of dates and promises and plans. 3 years of thinking I knew him. I never imagined he would choose Christmas Day in my parents' living room to detonate the life we built and call it honesty." My dad stood abruptly, his voice low and shaking. "You need to leave this house. Right now." Ethan didn't move. "She deserves to hear the whole truth first." My pulse hammered. "I've heard enough." "No," he said, and his voice softened into something almost pleading. "You haven't." He reached into his coat and pulled out a second envelope, white, unmarked. He placed it on the coffee table between us. "What is that?" I asked. "The part you didn't see," he said. "The part that explains everything." My hands stayed frozen in my lap. "I don't want another envelope." "Claire," he said softly, "please." Hearing him say my name like that, gentle, familiar, rehearsed, turned my stomach. I didn't touch it. So he opened it himself. Inside were photos, printed on thick paper. I saw them upside down: Ethan and a woman with long dark hair. Him sitting beside her. Him hugging her. Him smiling at her the way he used to smile at me. He spread them out like evidence. "I met Vanessa at a conference last year," he said. "It wasn't supposed to be anything. But she was going through something. And I was stupid. I made the wrong choice." I swallowed hard. "So this is supposed to make it better? You showing me pictures of you with someone you lied about for months?" "No," he said quickly. "No, it's supposed to show that I stopped it, that I realized what I was risking, that I want a future with you." My mom shook her head, horrified. You think this is how you build trust, by destroying it in our living room. But Ethan didn't look at her. He only looked at me. Claire, he said, voice cracking for the first time, I love you. I was going to propose tonight because I want to spend the rest of my life making this right. I finally felt tears rise, but not because I wanted him back. Because the man I thought I loved didn't exist. Because the version of him in front of me was a stranger wearing his face. Quietly, I closed the folder of emails. I closed the envelope of photos. I closed the ring box. And then I said the only thing that made sense. Get out. Ethan didn't leave right away. He stood in the middle of my parents' living room, breathing hard, staring at me like he was waiting for the moment I'd suddenly take everything back. Like my get out was temporary, emotional, reversible. But I meant it with every shattered piece of me. My dad moved first. He stepped between us, shoulders squared, voice low but unwavering. You heard her, out. Ethan's jaw tightened. Mr. Henderson, please. No, my dad snapped. You do not get to negotiate with me in my own home after what you just did to my daughter. Ethan looked at me again, his expression cracking for the first time that night. Claire, don't do this. Not like this. Like what? I asked, barely recognizing my own voice. Like telling the truth in front of my family? Like showing up on Christmas to confess an entire double life? Like proposing with evidence of your betrayal in the same box? His face twisted. It wasn't betrayal by the time I proposed. There doesn't need to be a timestamp to make it betrayal. My mom put a trembling hand on my shoulder. I couldn't tear my eyes away from Ethan though. I kept looking at him like I was trying to see the man I used to love somewhere in the fragments. He wasn't there. Finally, Ethan exhaled sharply, grabbed his coat from the back of the chair, and walked toward the door. But before stepping outside, he turned back. Don't throw away 3 years because of one mistake, he said softly. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. You didn't make one mistake, I said. You made 100. You just printed 20 of them. His face reddened. Get out, I repeated. This time he listened. The door closed behind him with a soft final click. The kind of sound you don't forget. My legs gave out, and I sank onto the couch. My mom sat beside me instantly, pulling me into her arms. My dad paced near the window, muttering things about entitled idiots and how dare he, but I barely heard him. All I could see were those emails, those photos, the ring box, the future I thought I had. The future that had never actually existed. After a few minutes, my mom whispered, "Sweetheart, breathe." So I did, one slow inhale, then another. Each breath made the truth settle deeper. He didn't love me. He loved the version of himself he got to perform when he was with me. When I finally stood, I felt older, like I shed something I didn't know I was carrying. I need air, I said. My parents didn't stop me. They just watched with worried eyes as I grabbed my coat and stepped outside into the freezing night. The snow-covered porch glowed under the Christmas lights, and the cold slapped me awake in ways I didn't know I needed. I stepped down into the yard, letting the silence surround me. Somewhere down the street, a dog barked. A car door slammed. Laughter drifted from a neighbor's window, families still celebrating the holiday I just watched implode. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. I'm parked outside. Please come talk to me. My heart lurched, but not in the old familiar way. This time it was anger, clean, sharp, clarifying. I walked down the driveway, crunching through the snow until I could see his car idling beneath the street lamp. He rolled down the window when he saw me, relief flooding his face like he genuinely believed the night wasn't done unraveling. Claire, please, he said. Just 5 minutes. No, I replied instantly. He blinked. You owe me that. I don't owe you anything. He shoved his hand through his hair, frustrated. Look, the emails look bad. They are bad, but they don't show everything, he insisted. You didn't see how it ended. You ended it the night you decided to propose, I said. That doesn't make you noble. It makes you manipulative. He shook his head. I'm trying to be honest with you. Ethan, printing a stack of emails and wrapping them like a Christmas present isn't honesty. It's damage control. His jaw clenched. I wanted a clean slate. You want an absolution without consequences. Silence. A long, heavy silence. Finally he whispered, I don't know how to lose you. The words might have broken me months ago. Even weeks ago. But now, they sounded like a script. Something he practiced. Something he didn't truly understand. You already did, I said. He swallowed hard. So that's it? That's it. His eyes glistened anger or grief. I couldn't tell. He opened his mouth like he wanted to say something else, but no words came. After a moment, he nodded, put the car in drive and rolled up the window. I stepped back as he pulled away from the curb, tires crunching through the snow. The taillights glowed red for a moment, then disappeared around the corner. And just like that, the double life he'd been hiding vanished with him. I stood alone in the cold, breath turning white in the air, heart still pounding, but lighter, cleaner, the kind of hurt that leads somewhere better. When I finally walked back inside, I knew one thing, I wasn't done uncovering the truth. Not yet. The morning after Christmas felt nothing like a holiday. The tree was still lit, the stockings still hanging, but something inside the house had shifted like a door had closed that none of us could reopen. My phone buzzed nonstop through the night, but I didn't check the messages. I didn't want to see his name. I didn't want to reopen the wound that was still raw and throbbing. When I walked into the kitchen, my mom was already there, sipping lukewarm coffee. She set the mug down the second she saw me. How are you feeling? She asked gently. Like I lived someone else's life for 3 years, I said. And yesterday was the day I finally woke up. She crossed the room and hugged me, tight and grounding. I'm proud of you. You handled it better than most people could. I didn't feel proud. I felt hollow. My dad walked in next, muttering as he opened the fridge. If that boy comes near this house again, Dad, I said softly. He's gone. For good? He asked. For good. He grunted approval and shut the fridge harder than necessary. I tried to eat something toast, a few bites of fruit, but everything tasted like cardboard. Eventually I gave up and walked upstairs to gather my things. I needed to go home, to be in my own space, away from the echo of last night. My parents walked me to the driveway. Snow had fallen again overnight, a soft new layer covering the old tracks like the world was offering a reset. I hugged them both, promised to call when I got back, and started the drive to my apartment 20 minutes away. The roads were quiet. My mind wasn't. Every memory felt contaminated now. Movie nights, road trips, the morning he made me pancakes after I got promoted. I wondered which parts had been real and which had been performed. I wondered when Nessa had entered his life. I wondered when he had started building 2 futures and offering me only one. My phone buzzed again. I didn't look. When I pulled into my apartment complex, I noticed a black sedan parked near my building. For a second my heart froze, thinking it was Ethan, but as I got closer, I recognized the woman leaning against the passenger door, Vanessa. She looked nothing like the villain I had imagined. No dramatic coat, no smug smile. She wore jeans, a long gray sweater, and her dark hair was pulled into a low ponytail. She looked tired and worried. When she saw me, she straightened. Claire? My first instinct was to turn around and leave. But something in her expression, genuine concern, maybe fear, stopped me. What are you doing here? I asked, arms crossing instinctively. I needed to talk to you, she said. Please, just a few minutes. I hesitated. The anger was still there, but curiosity threaded through it, now sharp, reluctant, undeniable. Fine, I said. 5 minutes. We moved to a bench near the entrance, snow crunching under our shoes. She sat first, then waited for me to join her. I'm not here to defend him, she began. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I think you should know what really happened. I know what happened, I said. I saw the emails, she nodded. I figured he showed you those. But he didn't show you everything. The same words Ethan had used last night. Except when Vanessa said them, they didn't sound manipulative. They sounded resigned. He told me he ended things, I said. Was that a lie too? She didn't answer right away. Her breath came out in a white cloud before she spoke. He ended things in theory. Not in reality. He said he was confused. That he was choosing you but needed time to adjust. He kept texting me, calling me, showing up. He said he was breaking up with me for your sake, but he didn't actually stop. My pulse quickened. How long? 2 months. 2 months. My stomach twisted like someone had punched it from the inside. And the photos, I asked. She looked down at her hands. I didn't take those to hurt you. I took them because he kept saying he was ending it, but then he'd take me out again. I thought I was going crazy. I needed proof for myself. I swallowed hard. Did he tell you about the proposal? She flinched. No, I found out yesterday. He texted me saying he needed closure so he could start a new chapter with honesty. That was the last message he sent. I pressed my fingertips to my temple. So he lied to both of us. Yes, she whispered. And that's why I'm here. I didn't want you thinking you were the reason he ended things. He was living a double life no matter what you did. A cold, sharp clarity settled over me. Ethan hadn't come clean out of love, or guilt, or respect. He came clean because it served him. Because he wanted control of the narrative. Because he wanted to propose with a manufactured sense of redemption. Vanessa's voice trembled. I'm sorry you were dragged into this. You didn't deserve it. Neither did she. For the first time since last night, I felt something soften, an unexpected solidarity between two strangers connected by the same lie. Thank you for telling me, I said quietly. She nodded, eyes glossy but steady. I hope you never let him back into your life. I won't. And in that moment, I meant it more than anything. But I didn't know yet. Ethan wasn't done. Not even close. After Vanessa left, I sat alone on a bench for a long time, snowflakes melting on my coat, breath fogging the air. Her words moved through me slowly, sinking deeper with every passing second. Ethan hadn't chosen me. He hadn't chosen her either. He had chosen convenience, control, and whichever story made him feel like the hero. When I finally stood, a strange calm settled over me, not numbness, not shock, just clarity. The kind that comes when a storm finally passes and you can see all the debris it left behind. I walked upstairs to my apartment, locked the door behind me, and dropped my keys on the counter. The silence felt heavy but clean, honest. I made tea, sat on the couch, and stared at the still-lit Christmas tree I had decorated 2 weeks earlier with a future that no longer existed. Around noon, my phone buzzed again. Ethan, please talk to me. I deserve a chance to explain. I deleted it. 5 minutes later, Ethan, I'm outside your building. I'm not leaving until we talk. My breath hitched. I walked to the window and peeked through the blinds. He wasn't lying. His car was parked at the curb, engine off, snow dusting the windshield. A familiar panic clamped my chest. Not because I feared him physically. Ethan wasn't violent, but because confrontation with him had always been a losing game. He twisted words, softened truths, made himself the victim until I doubted what I felt. Not today. Still, I didn't trust myself to face him alone. I called my dad. He answered on the second ring. Are you okay? Ethan's here, I whispered. I'm on my way. He hung up before I could say anything else. I stayed near the window, watching Ethan pace beside his car. He kept checking his phone, running a hand through his hair, glancing up at my building. He looked nervous, not remorseful. Nervous like someone who was losing control of a narrative he thought he owned. 15 minutes later, my dad's truck turned into the parking lot. Ethan noticed instantly. His posture stiffened as my dad climbed out, jaw set, eyes cold. My dad walked straight toward him. I cracked the window just enough to hear their voices. "Leave," my dad said. "Mr. Henderson," Ethan started, hands raised. "Please, I need to talk to Claire." "She won't answer me." "She doesn't need to," my dad snapped. "You lost that right last night." "I made a mistake," Ethan said. "One mistake. You lived a double life," my dad cut in. "That's not a mistake. That's character." Ethan flinched. He glanced up toward my window, and I stepped back, not wanting him to see me watching. "I love her," he said, voice cracking. "I proposed because I want a life with her. I ended everything with Vanessa. I'm trying to fix this." "You can't fix something you set on fire," my dad said. "Now leave." "I won't leave until Claire comes down." "You don't get to make demands." More silence. Snow falling between them, soft but tense. Then Ethan's voice lowered. "She deserves to hear my side, son," my dad said. "She heard your side last night." It was printed on a stack of emails. A long, heavy pause followed. When Ethan finally spoke again, the desperation in his voice felt sharper, darker. "She can't just cut me out," he said. 3 years don't disappear overnight. I opened the window wider. "They do," I called down. Both men looked up. My dad stepped aside so Ethan could see me clearly. His eyes softened instantly, as if the sight of me alone might reset everything. "Claire," he breathed. "Please. I need 5 minutes. Just 5. "No," I said. "You don't get 5 minutes. You don't get 5 seconds. Hear me out," he begged. I was confused, and confusion doesn't create hotel reservations, I said. Confusion doesn't write love letters. Confusion doesn't send midnight texts for months. His face paled. "You didn't end things with her because you chose me," I continued. "You ended things because you were afraid she'd expose you before you could propose." "That's not true," he argued, voice cracking. "It is," I said. "She told me everything." He froze. The kind of freeze that only happens when someone realizes their lies are no longer safe. "You talked to her?" he whispered. "Yes, and unlike you, she didn't hide anything." His eyes glistened with a mix of fear and anger, two emotions I'd never seen from him at once. "Claire, don't do this," he said. "Don't throw us away. We're already gone," I said. "You destroyed what we had long before Christmas." He shook his head, breath visible in the cold. "I can change." "You already changed," I said softly. "Into someone I don't know anymore." The wind picked up, brushing snow across the parking lot. Ethan looked around, lost, as if hoping the world would give him a script to fix this moment. My dad stepped forward. "Time to leave." Ethan swallowed hard, eyes still locked on mine. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I know," I said. "But sorry doesn't rebuild something that was never real." He stood there for a final second, then lowered his head, walked to his car, and drove away. The taillights disappeared behind the falling snow. I closed the window, leaning my forehead against the cold glass. My dad came upstairs and wrapped me in a hug. Tears finally came quiet, shaking, not from heartbreak but from release. Later that night, I sat by my tree, soft lights flickering, tea warm in my hands, and realized something. Ethan leaving wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of getting my life back. The truth didn't break me. It freed me.